Welcome to the Linehaul Playbook. I'm your host, Emily Blair. Joining me in my virtual studio today is Moshe Laiser with Big Slab Truckin'. Moshe, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Emily, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Just wanted to share a little bit about my experiences with the new EFS fuel cards. I know everybody's going through a little bit of pain with this. And when I say everybody, I don't mean just the TSPs, but also the FedEx side. They're working on getting through thousands of emails and they're working 7 days a week. I got a call from them on a Sunday saying, hey, we got your request. We're working on it. So please be patient with them. They are trying their best to get caught up. But yeah, definitely want to share my experiences. We've been through a lot of different real world scenarios that will hopefully help the rest of the people out there, smooth out the process a little bit while FedEx works through their part of it as well.
If I could, I'm going to ask you to start with the process of putting a card on and off hold.
Yeah, not a problem. So I'll give a little bit of comparison as well with the existing T-Chek cards. So with the T-Chek cards today, if you wanted to put a card on hold, you would just call T-Chek and you would say, hey, here's my card, here's my CDAS number. I'd like to put the card on hold. They put the card on hold. And then when you want to take the card off of hold, you would just call T-Chek back and then say, hey, please take this card off of hold. And then they would update the miles for you and your card would be ready to go. But with this new EFS card, this time you have two different statuses that you can set the card into. You can set the card into inactive or you can set the card into hold. Now you can do that through one of three different channels. You can do it through the mobile app, you can do it through the website, and you can also call the phone number on the back of the card. The biggest difference with the new EFS card is that if you want to take the cards off of hold or make them active again, you can't call EFS to do that. You can only the FedEx team can make the cards active again. So that is one difference. Now I know there is feedback from other contractors that they would like the ability to put the cards on and off hold themselves. And so that's something that they're taking back with them. So hopefully they'll improve that process in the future. But today, if you want to take a card off of hold, you would need to email FedEx Fuel Team to get it off of hold. And that could take a little bit of time.
That is an awesome tip. And Moshe had shared a little cheat card with some really helpful phone numbers, emails, and PIN numbers that you might need. So I'll put that in the description of the video. Make sure you check that out. And next, Moshe, would you talk about the process of getting replacement cards?
Yes, so this is a great one. So in the past, we had the ability to get temporary cards from FedEx. So hopefully everybody is aware at this time that there are no more temp cards. If you lose your card, that FedEx will issue a new card. Now, the original promise was that you were supposed to be able to get access to these cards 24/7, 365 from any of, let's say, 600 different hubs that had these cards and are supposedly able to activate these cards. What I found in reality is that while the hubs do have cards, there's a huge gap in education on the process on the FedEx side. What I found is there's typically only one or two people that know the process to get the cards activated, know that there even are cards that exist, and then, there's also the problem of having a manager sign off on them on the FedEx side. And then once they do finally submit that to the FedEx Fuel Team, they're not activated right away. So it could take, 24, 48 hours for the Fuel Team to activate your card once you've got it. And some of that depends on if it's a weekend versus a weekday as well. So it could take even longer if you're, need to activate a card over a weekend. What the process is supposed to be on the Linehaul side is that they'll take one of the EFS cards that they have in reserve. As a contractor or TSP or your driver, they will need to fill out the SE33 form ahead of time. So then the Linehaul manager or individual will put that new card number on the SE33 form. That SE33 form will be sent up to the FedEx Fuel Card by FedEx. This is where we've had some confusion where FedEx is like, oh, you need to contact your AO, you need to contact your BC to send up that form, but that's not the case because FedEx needs to sign off and give you that new fuel card number and submit the SE33 form, on your behalf. And at that point, FedEx could give you the card. It may or may not be activated. So again, be prepared that it might be 24 to 48 hours before that card actually gets activated, even if you have the physical card in hand. And then the SE33 forms, FedEx terminals are supposed to have them, but I found that they don't necessarily have them. So you'll want to print those out, maybe either have some in the trucks or at least have a digital copy ready to send into a terminal.
That is, again, great information. Thank you for that. Now, what happens if you are using a T-Chek card and an EFS card at the same time? Is there anything that people need to be aware of with that situation?
Yeah, so for example, we had one truck that was they used the new EFS card once, set the miles on it, and then they went back to the T-Chek card. And the miles got so far out of sync that you had to go in and resynchronize the miles. So T-Chek and EFS, while they're the same, I think, parent company, they're still two independent cards, two independent systems. So just be aware that you might have to update mileage on different cards depending on how far to sync the miles get.
Okay, very good. And are you using backup cards? Because you've got T-Chek, you've got EFS. Are you also having backup cards available?
Not at this time. It is something I'm exploring because, yeah, if my drivers lose a card on the road or because it takes so long to activate and there's no temp cards at the hubs, they can't even run out and go temporarily get fuel. At that point, it's on me or the drivers to pay for fuel and get reimbursed, and then we'd have to submit that reimbursement to FedEx as well. So yeah, I'm definitely exploring different backup cards like REL or ComData and ComCheck. I'm trying to see what's the best option for me and my team.
Got it. Thank you. And I am going to take a second to put a little plug in for REL, the sponsor of this channel. I am going to include a link to the REL fuel card information. Now, this is different for those of you that have had an REL fuel card in the past. Obviously, it's not going to be the same as the T-Chek card was. REL is no longer able to add or order replacement cards for anyone on the FedEx fuel card anymore. But if you need a backup card, we do still have some of those same discounts available. It would just be a situation where you'd need to manually enter. It does not automatically go on your settlement if you use that card. So, with that said, Moshe, how about we talk about some reports?
Yeah, so for reports, if you log into the EFS website, I set up 3 reports that I found helpful for me. 2 of them are daily reports. One of them is my daily fuel purchases, and the other one is my daily fuel rejected. So that way, at 12:30 a.m., when the reports get sent out, I can either look at them, late at night or first thing in the morning when I wake up. And then I also get a weekly fuel purchase report, so I can see, the fuel that was used with each truck. And if I wanted, I can reconcile that against my settlement statement just to see if they match up. So, but those are the ones I found the most handy. I think what you'll have to play around with is there's a lot of different ways you can format the reports. So you'll play around if you want to format it by unit number, by card number. So you have a few more options beyond that, but something just to play with.
Moshe, that was so much information. You're amazing. Did we forget anything?
No, I think we hit all the key things that come to mind that we talked about.
Thank you for sharing your time with us, Moshe.
Yeah, my pleasure.